Hallo allemaal, daar zijn we er weer. RHTV Live vanuit het mooie, koude Maastricht. Ja, en zoals altijd gaan we naar politiek kijken. We doen het in Engels en in het Nederlands. Dus er komen ook wat Engelse woorden naar voren. Goed. We kwamen een filmpje tegen die we zo laten zien, van iemand die het gewoon niet meer pikt. Ja, die heeft zoiets van, we moeten echt wat gaan doen. We moeten actie ondernemen en zoiets allemaal. Het heeft een heel stappenplan, daar gaan we zo naar kijken. En we streamen natuurlijk live vanuit het mooie Maastricht. Het zuiden des lands. En natuurlijk gaan we dus kijken naar zowel binnenlandspolitiek als buitenlandspolitiek. En zoals beloofd, in het begin van de uitzending, we kwamen een filmpje tegen van iemand die pikt het gewoon niet meer. En die heeft dit als plan, hier zo. Actieprogramma omverwerping. Tim Hofman heeft erop gereageerd. Johannes Matthijs Koenraad, zo heet deze meneer, die heeft een heel plan. En ja, we gaan eens even luisteren naar zijn plan. Kijken wat hij van Nederland gaat maken. We gaan even hier naar kijken.
Ruim 20% van de Nederlanders is ervoor om het overheidssysteem omver te werpen. Maar je moet natuurlijk wel weten wat je daarna gaat doen. Wat ga je doen als je de macht hebt gewonnen? Ik heb een aantal notities gemaakt, dus laat ik even doorheen lopen. Na een bestorming van Den Haag en andere machtsinstituten willen wij de machtsoverdracht. Er volgen dan massale arrestaties van extreem linkse journalisten en andere saboteurs die ons land eigenlijk de vernieling in geholpen hebben. Wij willen dan de herinvoering van het schuttersgilde als derde gewapende macht naast politie en leger. De schutters gaan vervolgens vreemdelingen in snel tempo onze huizen uitzetten en de vrijgekomen woningen gunnen we dan aan autochtone jonge vrouwen die een gezin willen stichten. De schutters, het is vanzelfsprekend dat alleen autochtone mannen daar lid van mogen worden. De AZC's worden gesloten en volgt een totale migratiestop. Transklinieken worden gesloten, vooral die voor kinderen. De bestuurders van zulke klinieken krijgen levenslange celstraffen. De psychologen en andere medewerkers die kinderen naar zulke transklinieken hebben doorverwezen, mogen hun beroepen nooit meer uitoefenen. Medewerkers van de Open Society Foundations en andere zulke soort door buitenlands geld gefinancierde instituten worden veroordeeld wegens verraad en daar staat de doodstraf op. Boeren krijgen vrij spel om te produceren wat zij willen, dus ongelooflijk veel regels worden dan afgeschaft, maar export van voedsel naar Afrika en andere demografische brandhaarden wordt verboden. We gaan namelijk niet langer de bevolkingsgroei van Centraal-Afrika financieren of stimuleren of steunen. Wij zullen dus helaas voedsel vooral zelf moeten gaan opeten. En nogmaals, ik geef boeren dan vrij spel om te produceren wat ze willen, maar het gaat niet meer naar Afrika. Er komt dus ook een stop op ontwikkelingshulp. Ja? Rauwe melk wordt bijvoorbeeld gelegaliseerd, dat mogen we dan wel gaan drinken. Reclame voor vegaproducten wordt verboden omdat veganisme ongezond is voor kinderen en voor ouderen. En de enige reden dat volwassenen op een vega-dieet kunnen overleven is omdat die volwassenen eerder wel dierlijk vet en eiwit hebben gegeten. Hun lichamen zitten nog vol met zulke hulpbronnen en daar put je dus uit. Want eigenlijk is veganisme een afsterfdieet. Mensen die op grond van hun huidskleur positief zijn gediscrimineerd en zo op machtsposities en andere invloedrijke posities terecht zijn gekomen, worden onmiddellijk afgezet. Er komen tribunalen voor de coronadaders. Zij staan namelijk terecht voor volkerenmoord en ook daar staat de doodstraf op.
Sowieso, de doodstraf. Deze knakworst wil de doodstraf invoeren in Nederland. En ja, zoveel macht kunnen wij toch niet aan de staat geven. Dat een of andere idioot besluit om de doodstraf willekeurig te gaan gebruiken en zoiets. Je moet begrijpen dat de staat der Nederlanden een hiërarchisch model is. Ja? Je hebt dus de Eerste Kamer, je hebt de Tweede Kamer, dat is het politieke spectrum. Ja? Daarnaast heb je nog het bedrijfsleven, media en noem het allemaal maar op. Dus het groot overheidsapparaat. Ja, dat wil niet zeggen dat NOS echt fake nieuws is. Nee, het is eenzijdig nieuws. Dus ze belichten maar één kant van het conflict. Dan wel, je snapt het wel. Ze belichten maar één kant. De andere kant belichten ze niet. Ja. Dus, maar deze gast die zegt, ja, we moeten het parlement gaan bestormen. En wat nog allemaal, wat heeft Tim Hofman nog allemaal aangemerkt. En dan linkse journalisten arresteren, snap ik. Oké. De vrouwtjes wat rechten ontnemen, terecht. Dat is natuurlijk niet serieus bedoeld van Tim Hofman. Een schutterschilder voor razzia's. Kijk, waar ik het wel mee eens ben, is dat de bevolking bewapend moet zijn. Ja. Ik wil niet zeggen dat je die wapens ook daadwerkelijk gaat gebruiken, maar ter verdediging. Ja. Daar heb ik altijd voor gepleit. En het overheidsapparaat kan dus geweld gaan gebruiken ten opzichte van de burger. We hebben het gezien in Amsterdam, we hebben het elders gezien. Dus ja, een regering omverwerpen, dat gaat niet zomaar. Deze knakworst, die zal het niet gaan oplossen met zijn standpunten. We gaan doorluisteren.
Mensen die lid zijn van linkse partijen, en dan bedoel ik inclusief VVD of Nieuw Sociaal Contract of het CDA, bestaat die nog? Ja, die worden verplicht om naar het front te gaan om daar tegen Rusland te vechten. Dit is tenslotte hun oorlog, zij mogen dus eerst sterven. Zwarte Piet blijft zwart, ja? En kinderen leren elke maandagochtend op school het volkslied zingen.
Nou, ga jij me het goede voorbeeld geven, meneer, hoe heet deze knakworst? Matthijs, Koenraad, geef jij me het goede voorbeeld. En kom maar eens met een live, waar je alle coupletten zingt van het Wilhelmus. Doe maar. We kijken wel toe. Kijk hoe goed jij het volkslied kent.
Dit lijstje is niet compleet, ja? Maar het doel is altijd om de eigen bevolking weer sterk en gezond te maken. En ook media zullen worden verplicht om dit doel na te streven. Dus in plaats van de neger omdat het moet, krijg je voortaan autochtone gezinnen omdat het kan. In plaats van de psychologische en lichamelijke sabotage die wij de afgelopen 50 jaar hebben moeten verduren, komt er nu een programma, een actieprogramma om de hele bevolking weer kerngezond, geestelijk en lichamelijk sterk te maken.
Daar kan ik het mee eens zijn. Hè. Dat is ook een taak van de overheid om mensen lichamelijk en gezond, geestelijk gezond te laten gedijen in een land. Dat is de taak van de overheid. Ja. Maar wat deze knakworst allemaal zegt, ga eerst maar eens even de machtsstructuur even uitleggen. Ja. Als we bijvoorbeeld kijken naar Sri Lanka, weet je nog, grote demonstraties in Sri Lanka, weet je nog? So Canada is watching. Hello, Natasha Maeve. We're doing this in Dutch, but also English, of course. Now, this guy has set some rules to overthrow the Dutch government. and he's a very weird guy. Basically, he doesn't understand the power structure that's going on. Now, you guys remember Sri Lanka? There was an overthrow of the government over there. We'll show you guys some images. We laten wat beelden zien uit Sri Lanka en de demonstratie waar de presidentiële paleis wordt bestormd. So this is Sri Lanka 1 year ago, roughly, and these are protesters protesting against the government, right? And let's take a look at this here.
They called Saturday D-Day, when protesters say the president and his government would be forced to step down. They blame Gotabaya Rajapaksa for an economic crisis that's made life unbearable for many of the country's 22 million people. After breaking through barricades, yet another unprecedented moment. The demonstrators stormed into the president's official residence in Colombo. Inside, this is what it looked like. The president was moved by a security team to an undisclosed location earlier, while protesters ransacked his bedroom and took photographs on his bed. Within moments, the presidential pool, once reserved for the country's top leaders, appeared more like a community pool.
You see, they overthrew the president. They did not overthrow parliament. And parliament had basically said to another minister, right, interior minister, you are the prime minister, you are the president now. So, yeah, that's what's happening.
Today is the Independence Day for me, being born in this nation, not 1948. Because today we have fought for our freedom from the tyranny, from the scoundrels, from the blackguards, from the rascals, the rogues, and the greedy politicians who have run our nation below ground zero.
You have not done anything over there in Sri Lanka, right? Because if we look at the power structure, it's still standing, right? Nothing has changed. Let's take a look at a link of presidents in Sri Lanka. You have Rajapaksa, which is a very famous family in Sri Lanka, and he needed to go, and he assigned someone within parliament to be the new president. In October 2022, the 21st constitutional amendment was introduced as plans to empower the parliament over the executive president and curb some of the powers of the president. Under the 21st Amendment, the president, cabinet ministers, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. 15 committees and oversight. Here. Wrong text, sorry. In 2022, the country caved into severe economic crisis, and as a result, mass anti-government protests, which we just saw, right, erupted across Sri Lanka. The protesters demanded the then incumbent president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, a very complicated name, and his government to step down. The protesters also demanded amendments to the constitution of Sri Lanka and to reduce the powers of the president. After Gotabaya Rajapaksa's resignation, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, well, my Sri Lanka is very bad, so was elected president by the parliament. You see, They overthrew the president, but they did not overthrow a parliament. And parliament chose some other guy, this guy here, Ranil Wickremesinghe, or something like that, to be president. You know, you have to understand the power structure first, right? If you want to change the power structure, you have to understand the power structure. So, als je iets wil veranderen, moet je het ook begrijpen. Ze hebben de president omvergeworpen, maar niet het parlement. Het parlement heeft gewoon iemand anders gekozen. So to enact real change, you must understand what is happening around the world, right? And if we look at the West, for example, you'll see that we are subverted ideologically, and this is why we are, basically we are lost as a society. So here we have KGB defector Yuri Bezmenov, 1985 interview, explains KGB manipulation of the US public opinion. It's an opinion that, that's very important for politics. Used to be. Now it's not anymore, but now it's a conglomerate of businesses that have the say, right? So let's take a look at this here.
Before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the process which is legitimate, overt, and open. You can see it with your own eyes. All you have to do, all American mass media has to do, is to unplug their bananas from their ears, open up their eyes, and they can see it. There is no mystery. There is nothing to do with espionage. I know that espionage intelligence gathering looks more romantic. It sells more deodorants through the advertising, probably. That's why your Hollywood producers are so crazy about James Bond type of thrillers. But in reality, the main emphasis of the KGB is not in the area of intelligence at all. According to my opinion and opinion of many defectors of my caliber, only about 15% of time, money, and manpower is spent on espionage as such. The other 85% is a slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see. Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people.
That is what we are doing with RHTVLive, you know, giving common sense back to society, right? We are being manipulated. Our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested largely by men we never heard of. Propaganda, right? Edward Bernays. So, you know, and who funded the USSR? You know, we have to know our history, right? Who funded the USSR? Well, we have a link coming up. There we go. Wall Street and the Bolshevik Revolution, the remarkable true story of the American capitalists who financed the Russian communists. Hey, wait a minute, what's happening here, huh? Ever heard of Operation Paperclip? After the Nuremberg trials, German scientists went to the US and Canada to make new weapons and new institutions, like NASA, you know. So this is what's happening. MK Ultra is also a part of the program that they use. So, and we're just giving a frame of reality, right? We're showing you what's really going on. The frame of consensus is also being used, right? Let's take a look at Mark Dice. He had made a video of January 6th. Let's see if we can find it. There we go. Here we have Mark Dice talking about January 6th. Now, what really happened on January 6th? And do we have a president, or I'm not even American, but do you guys have a president that knows the date? Let's take a look at this.
Yesterday, for normal Americans, was an ordinary Saturday. But if you're a Democrat politician or a member of the Operation Mockingbird media machine, then it was the 3rd anniversary of the new Pearl Harbor, January 6th. The mostly peaceful protest by Black Lives Matter standards at the Capitol in 2021, where patriotic Americans gathered in hopes to convince Mike Pence to not certify the electoral votes from the 2020 election and instead send the decision back to state legislatures, which many legal scholars saw as a perfectly legal and perfectly reasonable strategy if there was some suspicions that happened during the election that, of course, you're not allowed to talk about if you're a Republican. So from now until the end of time, the Democrat Party and their mouthpieces in the media hold a candlelight vigil every year to commemorate the fateful day.
If I can halt for a second and just say to you, the impact that happened on July the 6th had international...
What did you say? July the 6th? Well, we're going to rewind and...
vigil every year to commemorate the fateful day.
If I can halt for a second and just say to you, the impact what happened on July the 6th had international repercussions beyond what I think any of you can fully understand.
That's not a deep fake, by the way. That is the seated president of the United States. Actually, technically last year on the 2nd anniversary on January 6th, and he still couldn't get the date.
You couldn't get the date right. Oh my God, you have that guy as the president? Get rid of him. You know, get rid of him. But understand the power structure. First, you must get rid of Congress, right? Because Congress can vote in someone as a president. You know, that's what's needed. That is the real revolution that people want to enact, but are too scared.
right. And since he's aging like milk, he wasn't any more presidential this year. In fact, his caretaker had to come after his big speech and help him off stage. This way, Joey, it's time for your ice cream.
We have a president who's incompetent. He can't put two sentences together. He can't find his way off the stage. He can't find it, never. He's looking around. He's always looking for stairs. Has anyone seen?
You gotta love this. Man. That is Joe Biden. President Trump enacting as Joe Biden. You know, Joe Biden can't even find the stairs. You know, it's amazing. It really is amazing. It's like, oh my God. You see, what happened on January 6th was mainly a peaceful protest. People were, you know, the doors were open to come in. It's a honey trap, you know. There were feds dressed as Trump supporters, right? Just there to pick you up, you know. So this is what's really happening, right? The frame of consensus is being used. And let's take a look at Tucker Carlson, because Tucker Carlson was interviewing a senator who was looking at the January 6th thing, you know, and yeah. We're going to take a listen to this here.
It has been exactly 3 years since January 6th, the events of January 6th, the racist insurrection that shocked this nation to its core, more profoundly than anything since Pearl Harbor, plus the Civil War. And it has taken a while, honestly, even for people who aren't on the side of the professional liars, to realize there's something amiss about what happened that day. Not just the response, the largest law enforcement mobilization in the history of the United States. That was obviously disproportionate because it wasn't the worst riot that year, not even close. But the day itself, there was something about January 6th that didn't feel right. And hovering over that day has remained the question, to what extent was it a setup? And we still don't really know. But what's interesting is how few people have asked that entirely legitimate question. One of the very few, really one of the only in the United States Congress, is a member called Clay Higgins from Louisiana. And in case you haven't seen this clip, it's worth rewatching. This is from 2022 in a Homeland Security Committee hearing where he asked it just directly of the FBI director. Watch.
Did the FBI have confidential human sources embedded within the January 6th protesters on January 6th of 2021?
Well, Congressman, as I'm sure you can appreciate, I have to be very careful about what I can say about when.
It's a yes or no question, Christopher Wray. Did the U.S. government use federal people, right, on the grounds in Washington? Yes or no? Very, very simple. Now, this guy is going to avoid the question, of course.
Because that's what you told us 2 years ago.
May I finish? About when we do and do not, and where we have and have not used confidential human sources. But to the extent that there's a suggestion, for example, that the FBI's confidential human sources or FBI employees in some way instigated or orchestrated January 6th, that's categorically false.
Did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being open?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It should be a no. Can you not tell the American people, no, we did not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol?
Gentleman's time has expired.
You should not read anything into my...
Oh, the time has expired, right? Yeah, right. You see, they use the frame of consensus. Biden says, oh, these MAGA Americans, oh, they're dangerous and blah, blah. That is the frame of consensus. Americans are proud of their country. One of the proudest people that's around, you know. They're proud of their country. They're proud to call themselves a patriot. Canadians also, Canadians are proud people. And this guy, the snake, is just, sifting through the grass and through the stones and whatever, avoiding all these questions. It's a simple question and simple answer, yes or no, right? So we're going to go back to what's being asked by the senator, because I'm cutting in all the time.
It's 2021.
Well, Congressman,
There.
No. But what's interesting is how few people have asked that entirely legitimate question. One of the very few, really one of the only in the United States Congress, is a member called Clay Higgins from Louisiana. And in case you haven't seen this clip, it's worth rewatching. This is from 2022 in a Homeland Security Committee hearing where he asked it just directly of the FBI director. Watch.
Did the FBI have confidential human sources embedded within the January 6th protesters on January 6th of 2021?
Well, Congressman, as I'm sure you can appreciate, I have to be very careful about what I can say about when.
Even now, because that's what you told us 2 years ago.
May I finish? About when we do and do not, and where we have and have not used confidential human sources. But to the extent that there's a suggestion, for example, that the FBI's confidential human sources or FBI employees in some way instigated or orchestrated January 6th, that's categorically false.
Did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being open?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It should be a no. Can you not tell the American people, no, we did not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol?
Gentleman's time has expired.
You should not read anything into my decision not to share information.
Director Ray,
confidential human
gentleman's time has expired.
What a sleazy, repulsive little authoritarian liar Chris Wray is. That's obvious when you watch that tape. The sad part is so few tapes like that exist because so few have confronted him directly and asked questions to which the entire country has a right to know the answer, like that one. Clay Higgins did that. Congressman from Louisiana, Lafayette, joins us in studio. Congressman, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Tuck.
So that was over a year ago that you asked that question.
Not only the nation, right, Tucker, we're also watching in the Netherlands. The whole world is watching. I want to know what really happened on January 6th, right? Just give me the truth. Because people over here in the Netherlands, mainly politicians, are also saying, oh, look what happened on January 6th. Oh, what happened here can happen also in the Netherlands. And, they're using the frame of consensus against the Dutch population. We're also watching. I want to know what really happened on January 6th.
Which is a central question, and you asked it as I think is appropriate without any embarrassment at all on behalf of your constituents and the rest of the country. Are you any closer to the answer now?
Well, we're closer to being in a position where we can reveal the answers that we already have. Much of the evidence that we have compiled from investigative effort and over the course of the last couple of years, some offices like my own sort of operating in silos of investigative endeavor have now been able to come together now that we have a Republican majority and we have access to the staffs of the appropriate investigative committees. And so I sit on the oversight committee, and we Republicans run that committee now, and therefore we control the staff. So when you can magnify the efforts that individual members of Congress have pushed within our own offices, when you can magnify those efforts by the skill and the numbers of staff from the committees, you get a lot of evidence reviewed professionally and aligned and assembled into essentially a case file. And in this case, this is a big file. because the involvement of certain actors, you could say deep state actors within the federal government, to set the stage for what happened in J4, 5, and 6, and to entrap thousands of Americans from across the country and lure them into this set stage on J4, 5, and 6. The people that were involved in that is quite a large web. So yes, sir, we do have a great deal of evidence compiled, and we're gradually, professionally rolling that evidence out.
So you sort of answered the question right there in larger terms. You just said that elements within the federal government, I assume law enforcement, intel, and military, and I'm using your words, lured Americans to Washington into what you called a trap.
Yes, sir.
So that would, I mean, that's a shocking, and I assume that's a sober conclusion based on the evidence. That's what you're saying.
That
is not shocking, Tucker. It's called entrapment. Now, it's been used by the Bush administration many, many times to frame people, right, as extremists. You know, it's entrapment. That's basically what happened on January 6th, right? And yeah.
That would be my sober assessment as an investigator, and I love my country, and I've always been a staunch defender of the thin blue line, and I would proudly count the FBI amongst that number. They're like brothers to me. So to find that level of conspiratorial corruption at the highest levels of the FBI has been very troubling to me as a man, as a cop. And yet, you follow the evidence wherever it leads. And
yes,
this is what investigators do. So when I asked Christopher Wray that question, for instance, I already knew the answer. I had reviewed compelling evidence that the FBI had assets, human assets, dressed as Trump supporters, inside the Capitol prior to the doors being open and the masses allowed in. So I knew that the FBI was deeply involved. I'd seen evidence, even at that time, with that the FBI had embedded themselves into various groups online across the country of Americans who were essentially voicing their concerns and airing their grievances with each other about COVID oppression. And those Americans were targeted by the FBI, almost universally, Republicans. And
well, you see, I have a memory, right? You guys remember the Liberty City 7? What? Liberty City what? The Liberty City 7. We're going to show you that on screen. The Liberty City 7. Now, this here is a proxy made by the FBI, right, to entrap people, you know, so they can be go to court and be prosecuted and stuff like that. There's something called the prison industrial complex, right? Now, the Liberty City 7, as said before, is a proxy being used by the FBI in the homeland to frame people, basically. A sting operation was conducted. Ultimately, the charges centered on the FBI's belief that the group was seeking money in order to commit a terrorist act. Yeah, right. You guys set up the operation. So, you know, It's the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing, right? So 7 were arrested on June 23, 2006. This was during the Bush period, right? Here you have the 7 that were basically led by the FBI and convicted. You know, these people didn't have any resources to make bombs or whatever. You know, they got it from the FBI. And we even have tapes of Ahmad Salam, which is an Egyptian cleric who was present during the WTC bombing in 1993. So, you know, we're going to show you guys some footage. Wait. So here we have Ahmad Salem, right, an Egyptian cleric who was basically set up by the FBI and, you know, to plant a bomb, to make and plant the bomb within the World Trade Center. So he recorded that, recording. Oh. Let's see if we can. It used to be on YouTube, one of the main search results, but now it's buried under all this, you know, all this crap here. Let's see. No, not that. Oh well. Ahmad Salem was recording his FBI agent. Let's see if we can. Nope, still not. Yeah, it's buried under all this MSM crap. Here's something interesting. Woman sat next to 9/11 terrorists on plane. Anyway, Ahmad Salam was recording his dealings with the FBI, and you know, it was on YouTube for quite a long while, but can't really find it now. So here you have the FBI chief giving evidence of September 11th. Yeah, right. That was Robert Mueller, right? Now, Robert Mueller was also involved in the Russian collusion investigation. You guys remember that? I, as a foreigner, I know this because I'm watching what's really happening. We cannot find the recordings. They're there somewhere. Here, let's see if we can, if this is a good video.
In this surveillance video, Salam and members of the cell are mixing materials for bombs.
Abu Halima will be killed and hidden and gone forever, and you will never know about him that he ever went to Egypt. Will be off.
These are the recordings. Cool.
The record. And then you have the greatest suspect is gone and lost forever. And you'll keep looking for him for the rest of your life. See how much that will cost you. But because you get aware that he's there and you requested him, Egypt stopped it immediately.
Now, even the last 3 weeks is going to be a nice payment. I'm just telling you for the future and what the expenses, they just don't want to buy in on $500 of expenses. That's all.
Now, the guy that you heard was an FBI informant, right? So this is happening. They're using synthetic terrorism, on the mind, but also physically. As I showed you guys before, the 7 members of that group, the Liberty 7 or whatever, this is how they do it. This is how they scare people into coercion, into submission and stuff like that. They use coercion or violence, and people submit to it. I don't. I expose it.
Well, he's going to have to give me the, some of the expenses, and they'll pay what operationally they are allowed to pay.
Let me think about it.
Don't think it. There's nothing to think about.
Of course I have to think about it. I mean, I have...
And then later on, there's bonuses and things of that nature. The only thing I'm telling you different than from before is that it's not a salary.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm telling you. That is different than what we were doing anyway.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, let him to go recruit Ahmed Abdo, or let him to go talk to Ahmed Abdel Sattar. Ahmed is a good subject. He can really give you a big...
So there you have it, right? The whole conversation with Ahmad Salam and his FBI informant talking about which destination the bomb goes to and stuff like that. This is really amazing. This is amazing. This is known for years, and we just repeat this because people forget. People forget. The same is with what's his name in Oklahoma, Timothy McVeigh, right? That was not a lone wolf thing that happened over there. That was planned out. More people were involved, right? So there you have it. There you have it. Just relaying the truth here. We're fighting against a shadowy organization that has many tentacles within government and stuff like that, The World Economic Forum, the Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission, and all these other Council on Foreign Relations and stuff like that. We know what's going on. We know what's going on. Now, I'm on a tangent here. But, yeah, there's so much to talk about. So that's that, right? They use terrorism to scare the population. You must be aware of what's going on, right? There's so much more to tell. Let's go back to the map and see what's going on the map. Here we have the map. In Germany, big protests going on over there. The farmers are fed up with the government. Whole Germany is blocked off. No transport in Germany anymore. It's all blocked off. And Dutch farmers also went to Germany, and some Polish farmers went to Germany. So, yeah, and very, very interesting to watch what's happening there. Let's see if we can dig up some images from Germany. Wait a minute. Just 1 second. We found some images from Germany. Go. Here we go. This is just 17 seconds. Let's see what else we got. We got this clip here. I believe I also posted a live stream somewhere. This is also very, very sad to see an 11-year-old girl. I'm not going to show you the images because it's horrific. But an 11-year-old girl is blind and lost her parents because of a strike, missile strike in Gaza. So she lost her siblings and her parents. Very, very sad to see what's going on there. 17 million people have died because of the injection. Also very interesting thing to see here on Twitter. Let's see if we got more images from Germany. Oh yeah, maps. Let's put on maps, right? So we have the Gulf of Oman, right, where Iran is there with crews, with ships and stuff. You know, we have the Red Sea, right, attacked by Houthi rebels. We have Ethiopia, maybe on a warpath because they want a harbor, right? It's a landlocked country and they want a harbor, and no country surrounding Ethiopia wants to give them a harbor, right? Sudan, there's still a war going on in Sudan after more than 5 months of fighting, and 15,000 people died, and many people have fled the country, going to Chad and other places. We have Israel, Gaza going on, right? Just showed you that blind girl. And we have the Ukraine and Russia war still going on. World War III is going on, right? So, but I was searching for some video of the here German protest.
Der ist der Hammer, der Typ. Also, ich bin gerade auf den falschen Knopf gekommen und deshalb ist die Übertragung gerade abgebrochen worden, weil ich auf Beenden gekommen bin. Aber ich filme natürlich weiter für euch und klemme mein Handy mal hier ein.
Let's go through. So he's standing on the bridge somewhere. Many farmers and all traffic is stopped, basically. You know. So he's just driving around somewhere in Germany, trying to follow the farmers.
Ja, schönen Gruß an die dreckgefahrenen Bayern-Fans aus Mönchengladbach.
So now he's hitching a ride with someone on the tractor.
Ist natürlich alles Spaß, was ich hier sage. Ich habe nichts gegen Bayern-Fans. Willibald, mit dem gehe ich auch ins Stadion.
Now my German is not very good, but he's having fun. I understood that, you know. So German farmer protest, we also covered that yesterday, but that's, you know, something that we're keeping our eye on because it's our planet, right? It's not their planet. It's not the planet of Zbigniew Brzezinski and all these other shadowy people, such as George Soros and other people, you know. You want to know what Zbigniew Brzezinski said? We showed it last time. But for the people who missed it, we're going to show you Zbigniew Brzezinski, even though he's dead, right? His ideology still lives on within the political elite. So we're going to take a look at this here.
That for the first time in human history, for the first time in all of human history, almost all of mankind is politically awake. And these new and old major powers face still yet another novel reality, in some respects unprecedented. And it is that while the lethality of their power is greater than ever, their capacity to impose control over the politically awakened masses of the world is at a historical low. I once put it rather pungently, and I was flattered that the British Foreign Secretary repeated this, as follows. Namely, in earlier times, it was easier to control 1 million people, literally. It was easier to control 1 million people than physically to kill 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people. It is easier to kill than to control.
I'd also give you an angry smiley face, Natasha, hearing that, you know, because these people are animals. They're beyond the capacity of, you know, human being. You could say these people are like reptiles or lizards or off-planet entities, you know. These people are crazy, right? Now, Zbigniew Brzezinski, he flew over to Pakistan. You guys remember that? He flew over to Pakistan to support the Mujahideen. Now, where did Al-Qaeda stem from? The Mujahideen that fell apart after they won against the Soviets, right? You see, what happened was there was an Iranian revolution, and the Soviets wanted to stop that. They wanted to stop that, and they intervened within Afghanistan, right? So here you have Afghanistan and the neighboring country, Pakistan. There was Zbigniew Brzezinski forming the Mujahideen, saying, God is on your side, those mosques are yours, right? Let's take a look at that. God is on your side. Yeah, right. You work for the devil. You used to work for the devil. Now you're probably sitting on his throne in hell.
U.S. National Security Advisor Brzezinski flew to Pakistan to set about rallying resistance. He wanted to arm the Mujahideen without revealing America's role. On the Afghan border near the Khyber Pass, he urged the soldiers of God to redouble their efforts.
We know of their deep belief in God, and we are confident that their struggle will succeed. That land over there is yours. You'll go back to it one day because your fight will prevail and you'll have your homes and your mosques back again because your cause is right and God is on your side.
Yeah, you work for the devil. You heard me. Yeah, and your spawn, your offspring, also works for the devil, right? We have Mika Brzezinski. There you go. His daughter working for MSNBC, right? She's also a hellspawn, and she keeps coming back. You know, it's like playing a video game, right? You kill the zombie and the zombie arises again. There she is, you know, still in the public mind. You know, who the hell are you, Mika Brzezinski? You know, the position you have, right, is because of your father. You haven't done anything. So, yeah, that's what's happening, you know. Anyway, we are going to close off with Natasha Meave, of course. She has some new songs, and you know, it's beautiful that she's creative enough within these dark times, you know, to make new music. Beautiful. So we're going to listen to some new music here. And I don't care about Facebook and stuff. I always get these warnings, right, from Facebook saying this is not music that you're allowed to play and blah, 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 whatever. You know, Natasha says play. So we're going to play for her.
Feel the source of love.
Sorry.
Ease your mind, free your mind, speak your mind. Ease your mind, free your mind, speak your mind. Just don't lose your mind. These days it's easy, so take your time. Allow yourself to see the signs. Go for a stroll on the lake shoreline. Picture yourself following the ancient pathways of the ley lines. The interconnectedness of life. Feel the source of love and the light. Even if it's cloudy, you can be the sunlight. All it takes is one light. Smile at a stranger, no words, and you'll tell them that it's alright. That could be all they need. Bad could be all they see. We've been there, done that. We've all lost hope. So I smile and I transform the energy. It's alchemy, metamorphose, but it can't bring peace to a war zone. And it can't make friends out of my foes, no. I will never forget who I am. A healer, a light worker who also does shadow work. We aren't just pure light, there's darkness within. I will never forget who I am. A healer, a light worker who also does shadow work. Look at this world, so much pain and grim and dread. It can make it feel dead, absent inside your own head, unable to be present and connect. I never want to neglect the reason I'm here to protect. They're not awake yet, they overslept. So I sound the alarm gently, so it cause no harm. Friendly, don't have to be so harsh. Different vibes for different times. This world can be so dark, so I speak with my whole heart. Enchantress, yeah, I'm so charmed. I got that magic touch. Look at the stars, there's that magic dust. I know the world's become tragic, just trust. Keep the fire burning, don't combust. trust. I smile and I transform the energy. It's alchemy, metamorphose, but it can't bring peace to a war zone. I won't live in this delusion. This is a battle between good and evil, and I'm here to face it. I will never forget who I am. A healer, a light worker, who also does shadow work. We aren't just pure light. We all have darkness within. Look at this world, the light's dimmed, so much pain and grim. We all have darkness within, some more than others, and I can't change them. If you knew what I knew, you would understand. I met the sickest of the sick, roaming this land, evil and twisted. Can't turn them back, they might have had a chance, but they missed it. So I keep the ones I cherish close, and I never lose sight of the mission I'm on. Stay invisible, kinda like a ghost. Tune in to the radio coast to coast. More than meets the eye, energy is real, it doesn't die. Kumbaya is unrealistic. You can't bring the souls back of the sadistic. So I stay artistic, shamanistic, holistic, a mystic. I don't shy or hide away from the truth. I don't pretend love can save the world. I'm not pessimistic, I'm realistic. This is a spiritual war, and it doesn't matter how much you love someone who's evil. The spiritless are dead inside. Go love Epstein, see if he becomes a nice guy. Go love Fauci, go love Trudeau, go love Schwab, go love Picton, go love Bernardo. I will never forget who I am, a healer, a light worker, who also does shadow work. I will never forget that not everyone's good. So I'm here to share the message and hope that others will see the spiritual war that we've always been enlisted in. Stop this toxic positivity, it's selfish. I know we all want to enjoy life while we're still here, but why pretend that there's not evil? Are you really that filled with fear? You say you're not, it's all you ever hear. So I want to make it clear, you're only fooling yourself. You're only fooling yourself, you're only fooling yourself, you're only fooling yourself. I will never forget who I am, a healer, a light worker, who also does shadow work. We all have darkness within, some more than others, and I can't change them. If you knew what I knew, you would understand.
And if evil doesn't exist, then how does good exist? One of them only can't exist, right? That isn't how things work. If there wasn't something that wasn't good, there couldn't be good. And maybe that's the reason there's evil. Well, maybe evil can exist as a possibility and not a reality. It could, if we did things right, evil could exist as a possibility and not a reality.
We love you, Natasha. You know, compliments, from Kat and also Roy. So, yep. There you go. Yeah, and there's so much more to say, but I think I've said enough, right? I think I've said enough. Before we go, we're going to show you the situation here. Ethiopia, as I've said, right, they want a port, and Somaliland doesn't give a port. Djibouti has a port, but they have to pay. And Eritrea, who knows? Maybe there's going to be a new war. We'll see. And yeah, we'll keep you posted. So that's our job to do, and we must not forget that. You are special. You are a human being, right? So thank you all for watching, and see you guys next time.